Welcome back to another deal review. Today, we're going to be talking about how we made $15,000 wholesaling a single-family residence in Arizona. Now, this lead came from Speedily. We did spend about $150 for this lead. It was just outside of Phoenix, Arizona, a great market. Now, sometimes when we do these deal reviews, we tell you the craziness that we had to overcome to get the deal to the closing table. That's just not the case on this one. This was a easy breezy transaction right here. It was a vacant property, no title issues whatsoever. Now, the lead came in. I purchased it. I called the seller, no answer. Now, the one thing that we did have to overcome was getting the seller to respond. The seller actually called back in. And as you're going to see on the live seller call here in just a second, Josh from my team answered the call. He took a message for me because I was live during the time and we wanted to get the recording of this live seller call. Normally, we were not live during that. We would have just had Josh handle the acquisitions at that point. I then called the seller back and he didn't answer. And eventually, I did get him to answer. Now, you're going to hear at the beginning, this was somewhat of an objection that I had to overcome. Because Josh told him I'd call him back in 5 minutes. And he says, man, that was a long 5 minutes. But as you can see, I navigate through that pretty easily. At that point in time, it was a pretty simple close. One thing I want you to pay attention to during the live seller call is the reverse rapport at the end. How I build credibility towards the end through our process. And a lot of the rapport building is done at the end, not at the beginning. Now, that being said, let's show you the live seller call.
Hello.
Jason, it's RJ. How are you?
I'm good. It's a long 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry, dude. I got caught on the phone with another seller, and it was kind of a weird property. I got stuck analyzing. I'm sorry about that. So, you were looking to sell your property here on West Paradise, correct?
Possibly, yeah.
All right. And I think that you had spoken to someone on the team. I think it was Josh you were talking about. You wanted like $310,000 for it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's at like $355 right now. So I figured, that'd be fair. Everybody makes money and win-win-win.
All right. So tell me a little bit about like the condition and stuff. I mean, is it going to need any work to get that 355 for me, or?
It's probably definitely going to need new carpet, but other than that, I mean, it's just a plain house. There's really nothing special about it. Honestly, in my personal opinion, I don't think those houses are worth that much, but apparently that's the market now. So.
Well, it's partially just due to the location, that market's been crazy for.
Well, and that area right now is just exploding. They keep building new businesses and everything there, so I guess it's going to be a good location.
Right. You guess? That's funny.
I mean, it's walking distance from the high school. It's right around the corner from the elementary school. Businesses are going up like crazy. So, I mean, I'm not like in the business, so I don't know all the factors involved, but I mean, to the layman, that's what it would appear.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good factors about it. It's a nice little neighborhood.
Been there 6 years, never had a single issue.
That's awesome. So what's the situation there? Are you still occupying the property? Is it vacant? What's the deal there?
It's vacant. I moved out of it a couple months ago, but I still have some stuff in there. I'll be back in the area in a couple weeks to have everything packed up and moved out. And that's pretty much it. I've been rolling around the idea of either hiring a management company and rent it out. It'd be, free income basically. There's no mortgage on the house. It's already paid off. So right now, the only thing I'm paying on it is about a $25 electric bill monthly.
Right. Looks like you get about $1,900, $1,850, $1,900 a month.
I guess. I mean, I don't know what the rental market is like too. That's from other people, friends at work and things like that. Apparently that's about the going rate, maybe a little bit more for a house that size. Don't know if I want to deal with the hassle of renting though, even if I just hire a management company. Got a couple of friends at work that have rented out, and they have some suggestions for different management companies to use. But yeah, either that or just sell it and be done with it.
Have you ever
I don't really see myself moving back into the area? So
right. Have you ever thought about seller financing?
No.
So that's where you become the bank. So instead of renting it and having to hire a property management company and worry about, the tenants paying and all of that, you sell it to an investor where you charge interest on it. So you can get your price, you get monthly income off of it, and you're going to get interest. So, loosely using some of the numbers we're talking about here, let's see what this would do. Because if that were the case, you would have to leave a little bit of a margin in there for the investor to be able to cash flow.
I'm probably not interested in that. If I'm going to sell it, I just want to sell it and be done with it.
Gotcha.
If I'm going to hold on to it, then I'll just, hold on to it and rent it out traditionally, or who knows. I mean, the market, I guess if interest rates come back down even just a smidgen, because it topped out at like 425, and I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. But once again, I'm not in the real estate market, so I don't think, like I said, I don't think these houses are worth that or what they are now at 350. But at 425, I really thought about selling when it hit 425, but I was still in the area at the time, and I still would have had to live somewhere, so. That's why I didn't. Now I kind of wish I would have.
Right. I think you're with a lot of people like that. I mean, a lot of us made that decision where, part of it is there was not a whole lot of indications that it wasn't going to keep going up. I mean, outside of the fact that it had just been going up for, well over a decade. So at some point in time, it has to come back down.
Well, and then that last year and a half, it just got ridiculous. I mean, all of the people that I work with that were moving or PCSing away put their house up for sale, and it was sold for cash offers, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 above asking, and it wasn't even on the market for like a day or two. It was just ridiculous.
Right.
Like I said, had I known, but shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yep. Let me ask you this: seeing that. I mean, does it need paint on the inside?
Not really. I mean, I'm not there right now, so it's not like I can look at it. But to the best of my memory, no, it's nothing that was, like, oh, this thing needs new coat of paint or this or that. I live alone.
Right.
So I lived a pretty simple life. It's pretty much in the exact same condition as when I first moved in. And the person I bought it from was flipping it, so they did a lot of, touching up, I guess you would say.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so to the best of my memory, there's nothing major that's needed for, like I said, the carpet upstairs. The stairs and the second floor are carpeted, and that definitely that needed replacement when I moved in, but I wasn't too worried about it. I didn't really use the upstairs a whole lot for anything, so.
Would you be open to doing 300 cash, no commissions? I cover the closing costs.
So that would just be a check to me for 300. No additional fees or.
The only thing that you would pay out of that would be two things. One thing I can't pay for, it's the escrow fee. It's like $250. And I just say that because I have had people freak out about it before. And then prorated property taxes for this year. And if there's any liens or anything on the property, which you're free and clear, so there's no mortgage to pay off. But every now and then, like, people will have like a city lien for not mowing or trash or something like that. But if you don't have any of that, then it's just
I gotta have some weeds taken up when I go back in a couple of weeks.
right. So outside of that, it would just be the prorated property taxes.
So you want me to cover the property taxes?
Correct. For however long you've owned it this year. So, for example, if we close it.
Do you have that information in front of you as far as what the property taxes would be? Because I'll be honest.
Yeah.
The last few months have been a blur. So.
Yeah, let me look.
I know the property taxes there aren't much, not as much as I was paying in Texas, and definitely not as much as I'm paying now in Florida. So.
Oh, bro, here in Texas, we're insane.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It looks like right around $1,000.
So prorated be about a couple $100.
Like 500. So yeah, you're talking about you're walking away with roughly $299,000.
What would that entail? How would we proceed?
I send you a contract. You sign the contract. I need to be able to gain access probably 1 or 2 times. So I know you're not there. So however we figure out how to make that work.
I'm going to be back there packing up the rest of my stuff or having it packed up in 2 weeks. So on the 24th and 25th, I'll be there.
So there you go. We come and we meet you on the 24th so we can see it. And then after that, well, in the meantime, we open up title, right? And then they get the title commitment back. And then after we've done our walkthrough and we close.
Can you do this just because, and I know this is absolutely stupid because the numbers end up being the same, but whatever those fees end up being, like a couple $100 plus another, $400 or whatever, that total amount, whatever it ends up being, $600-700. Can you write up the contract so that I pay that cash and then you just cut a check for the $300, or would it be easier to just take it out of the $300?
It comes out of the proceeds. So it like on the settle, like you don't bring any money on the settlement statement. Like I wire in the funds, and then the title company says, "Okay, we pay the taxes. Okay, we pay," and then the escrow fee is their money. So they take their money, and then they wire you the difference.
So it'll be $299 and change.
Correct.
You know what? For the just for the sake of ease, I'm trying to overcome greed right now. for the sake of convenience.
What, you just want that front number to be a 3?
No. It's not even that, because I'm thinking, who knows what's going to happen in the market, right? Especially there in Phoenix.
Right.
That place is exploding. Everyone was talking about, the market's going to come back down, blah, blah, blah. But the entire West Valley of Phoenix is just exploding with business. Like major corporations are moving into the area. They're expanding highways. The entire city infrastructure is growing. So there's a lot of, positive outlook. But at the same time, you never know what's going to happen, And I could say, I'll take my chances and I'll wait, and I could make an extra $50,000. Or I could just take this now and just be done with it. And honestly, I think I just want to be done with it. Like I said, I don't really see myself moving back to the area for anything. So, let's go ahead and do that.
All right. So I've got your email All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write up the contract. We'll send it over to you. It comes through what's called Dropbox sign, similar to DocuSign. So you can read the contract on there. When you're ready to sign, it's just a signature at the bottom. It's a 2.5-page contract. Pretty simple. And like I said, on the contract, it talks about us gaining access to the property. We'll just meet you out there sometime on the 24th.
If you can coordinate that, the timing, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it really easy. So we'll be able to meet you out there on the 24th, and then, like I said, we'll open up title and we'll get this taken care of. It'll be this will be a real easy process here.
Easy sounds great to me.
All right, Jason. Well, I appreciate you returning my phone call there, and I'm sorry that I didn't get back to you. I wasn't available, but
Josh said, let me look up some numbers. I'll give you a call back in 5 minutes.
You know what's funny? I'm sitting here and I've got the little note, and then I called you that later that day, but the phone was acting really weird. And you know what happened is I think that my phone that I was calling out from, because that day no one was answering the phone, I think my phone got marked as spam, and I don't think my calls were going through.
That's weird. Yeah. The call earlier came over fine, but for me, I can't speak for your other calls, but I get next to no reception at work. It's like the building's made of kryptonite or something.
Then maybe that's what happened, because when I called you, it was like I don't know what happened. It was just going to nothingness. So it was like, all right. Because I'm looking at my note. It was like called, acted like phone disconnected. So,
that's weird.
Which is also not uncommon for us because we deal with a lot of people in financial distress. And so sometimes it's like, I need to talk to you right now. And then we call them and their phone's disconnected. And it's like, uh-oh.
Oh, you're kidding me. Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, you got to think about it. I mean, there's people out there. A lot of times the people we deal with are people like you, where it's like, hey, I've got this house. I've already moved. Like, I just kind of want to be done with it and make it easy.
Yeah.
Or we've got people that are like, red alert, like they're taking my house in 3 days, and it's like.
I never really considered, other people's situations. So.
Well, it's like the guy that I was just talking to you about before this. I mean, he's owned his house forever, but he's like, I want to sell, but I need like a year to move out of my house.
Holy cow, a year?
Well, it's like a third of an acre and it's zoned industrial. And I guess he's been like a contractor. So he's got like all of these huge tools that are just sitting in his yard. Like when I was looking, I was like, is this
a... You gotta be popular with the neighbors.
Oh yeah, right. I was like, and it's in Colorado Springs too. So it's like kind of a bougie area. And I'm like, dude, is this a dumpster? Is this a wrecking yard? And he's like, no, those are my tools. I'm like, oh, geez, I hope I didn't offend him.
How dare you, sir?
Right. I was like, I'm sorry. From Google Images, it looks like it's a dumpster or a wrecking yard.
Holy crap.
So, but yeah, man, I'll send over this contract here in a little bit. And then, like I said, we'll get the process started. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
Yep.
Bye-bye. All right. So that was the close right there. We got the seller to sign the contract. And like I said, this was a very easy transaction. Nothing really came up. We actually got the signed contract, and 14 days later, the property closed. Now, how did we dispo this deal? Well, with this being a deal in Phoenix, Arizona, that's a place where we have done quite a few transactions. And so this was very simple. We didn't have to use any dispositions tool or anything like this. I regularly talk about you guys need to be building relationships with your end buyers. So when it comes to dispoing a deal in a location where you've already previously done a deal, you just pick that phone up and say, hey, Mr. Buyer, I got one for you. That's exactly what we did here. This is a one-call dispo, known buyer. Hey, here's the deal. Sent over the pictures that we actually got from the seller, so we didn't even have to spend money on recon. Buyer immediately said, send me over the assignment. Now, The really cool part about this is we know that the property ended up selling on the market for $372,000. Now, I don't know exactly what expenses our end buyer had on this, but assuming he had to pay 7%, that is 3% for the buyer's agent, 3% for the listing agent, and 1% for closing costs, was somewhere around $26,000 in closing costs. If that's the case, he made just north of $30,000 profit because he didn't do any work to this property. So this ended up being a great transaction for our end buyer. It was a win for our seller, and it was a win for us where we made $15,000. I love that because it's exactly what the seller said when I talked to him. How did you come up with the price of $310,000? He said, well, I felt like the property could be worth this, and that would make it a win-win situation. He absolutely was correct, and we were able to get it for $300,000, sell it for $315,000, and our end buyer sold it for $372,000, making it a win-win-win situation. And that is how we made $15,000 wholesaling a single-family residence in Phoenix, Arizona. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you give me a like. We'll see you guys tomorrow.